All right, you're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, and today the Nasdaq recovered all of its moving averages here. We talked about how the last 2 weeks of December and the first 2 weeks of January are very tricky trading. And last week the index sold off. I go to the weekly chart here, sold off 3.25% last week. So a lot of damage being done on, a little lighter than average volume here. But it was a shortened week, holiday shortened week. And today, buyers came back, and look at the volume here. So it's like a Tom Petty won't back down rally we have here as it recovers its moving averages. Today it closed 4.5% above its 50, 1.1% above the 21, and 0.6% above the 10. So that's a real positive sign for the Nasdaq. And all things are good. I mean, it was up 319 points, 2.2%, closed at 14,843. It's still well off that 15,150, more than 2%. And it's still down for the year more than 1%. So if you're up or even on the year, you're outperforming the Nasdaq. All right, I want to take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average because they had, it was a laggard today due to Boeing, but it's been the leader. As you can see, it's well above its moving averages here and very close to new highs. And even with the Boeing news, it was up 216 points or 0.58%. So nothing wrong with the Dow. That was a very strong index as well. And the S&P looks healthier than the Nasdaq as it is 0.7% above the 10 and 4.7% above this 50, these rising moving averages. And the last one that I want to get to is the Russell or the IWM. This one rallied up to its 10 today and kind of stopped there. So that's a point of interest for me. It was up 1.94%, so not quite as strong as the Nasdaq. And I think the IWM will give us lighter volume here, but still trading. It's got to get through that moving average. Anyway, I want to talk stocks today. The Magnificent Seven. Some of them are not so magnificent, like Apple. This one had this cup with handle, then pulled back to the 200, and it's still, it bounced off the 200, but still well below the 50 there, 1.1% below the 50. So we'll see if it can rally through its 50, but one of the weaker of the Mag 7. Microsoft bounced off of its 50 very nicely, nearly 2% bounce today. Yeah, on a decent volume. But these companies are reporting earnings here soon, and the proof is in the pudding. They're going to have to deliver strong earnings. Meta Platforms, they had Zuckerberg was selling last week, but didn't really phase the stock. And this one was up nearly 2% today. Did not make a high. The high is old 361.90 there, and it came very close. But I can go to the weekly, and it'll give me the less than 1% off the high. There's a 3 weeks tight, then the pullback, and today had a nice day. So good for the Meta Platform shareholders. Amazon pulled back to its 50, bounce today. That's the kind of bounce you want to see there, nearly 3%. So Amazon looking better. Though I don't own those. The only one I own is NVIDIA's. That's the one that I just bought today as it was emerging from its base. Google here still set up in this base here. This is why I think these stocks are going to do well, because they're still consolidating in bases. And I'm not saying they're going to double or anything, but 5 or 10% move, if they get this thing back up near 150, that would not surprise me at all with all of these mega cap stocks. Tesla, oh boy, it was up 1.25%, but underperforming the index, which what we saw was just up 2.2%. Anyway, below its 50. Yeah, wait a minute. 2.1% above its 50 and below its 21, 1.8% below the 21. So in between the downtrending short-term moving averages and the uptrending longer-term moving averages. So just kind of consolidating. NVIDIA, I did share that I did buy this one today. I knew they were going to present at the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference, which I thought was kind of odd, but they had a nice announcement. It was up 6% with volume here, so a nice move. Still emerging from this base. Now, I got people saying, are you chasing it here? I said, no, I don't think so. Up to You know, 505 is the buy point, so maybe about 525 up to there. You're not really chasing anything above, but this thing, you know, that's a nice hammer candle, closed 99% of its daily range. So NVIDIA looking good. And that's not the only semiconductor stock that performed well today. AMD, which has been outperforming NVIDIA. So it was a little guy today. It was only up 5.5%, but well above its moving averages. And this is extended here above a buy point and well above its 50, 17% above the 50. Yeah, so AMD is checked out. You can't chase that right there. At least I don't think I'm not going to chase it right there. Broadcom had a ascending base pattern here, which pretty rare ascending base pattern. And today it bounced and then had resistance there at its 10 EMA. So it's got to get through the 10 there. Yeah, this downtrending green line there, got to get through there, but still setting up in a base. There's nothing wrong there. Broadcom, once again, these things are going to be reporting earnings, and that's where they're going to either make it or break it on earnings, sales and earnings growth. This is SMCI, super micro, one that we watched for a long time. Very difficult, choppy action. You could see this ever since last summer and when they reported earnings, and it's just been chopping around and chopping around. Bounced off its 50 last week, had a nice day today, up nearly 10% with strong volume there. So yeah, I like it above the 317.50 there. I know that anyway, good for super micro longs. Anyway, I'm going to get out of this sector because really the theme of the day was, now last week transportation, shipping, financials, drugs, coal stocks were the winners, but the only ones that followed through today were the drug stocks, and that's because of all these buyouts. This is AMAM, which was bought out by, I want to say Johnson and Johnson or Merck. They all had buyouts today. I think this is Johnson and Johnson. So thank you, Johnson and Johnson, for sparking a rally. This one was up 100%. We'll take that every day, right? Boom. You get a stock up 100%, it's adios muchachos. Anyway, there was just a lot of news in the drug sector. I can't even keep up with half of it. This is a Harpoon. This is the one that Merck bought out, up 112%. Thank you very much. With massive volume, there's nothing to do there, but cha-ching, cha-ching, ring the register, buy yourself a, diversifier, buy yourself something nice. Congrats to the longs there. That was a really nice move. AXNX. I can't even tell you who bought this company right now. It escapes me. Up by 20%, or was it news? I don't know. It might have just been news. Medical systems equipment, I think it was bought out. Anyway, yeah, just massive volume, massive moves here in the drug sector. CYTK. Now this one had a positive trial and it ramped up. And today there was a rumor that Novartis was going to buy it out. And you got to be careful with these rumors because there's people have agendas. And this has been a rumor for a while now that this stock was going to be bought out. So I would, be careful of rumors there. Everybody has an agenda. APLS, they raised guidance there. This is the JP Morgan conference that's going on. We're just getting a ton of news out of here. Not just M&A action, but raised guidance. And this is APLS, has a gap to fill there at 84.30. So nice move today. Might have room to go there. RXST, I believe they raised guidance as well. Just so much going on. I couldn't keep up with all the the news feed today. Anyway, broke out of a base, pulled back to the 21 and ramped higher 22%. That's a RX site. Very nice move. A couple ones that I like. EYPT bounced off its 21. They're presenting at the JP Morgan conference, as is VKTX, Viking Therapeutics, a San Diego based company with a weight loss compound, and they're probably a real good buyout target as well. You can see the move higher, just forming the shelf, bounce off the 21. And there's a lot more drug news that but I got to move on because I don't want to spend all night talking about drugs. Anyway, I want to get to these software names that made big moves. You know, when stocks move like this, like it has in the past, these are signs, you know, these are flashes, right? That they have the ability to make big moves. So you got to pay attention to that. And if you look at the weekly, I mean, this stock just emerged from this stage one basis, big consolidation. So a pullback is not unexpected here. But what piqued my interest today is that it peaked just above the 10 EMA here. And that usually is a point of resistance. So it closed just a tick above it. So something to watch for here. That is a nice, looks like a bull wedge for ESTC. And a lot of these look the same. These software names, pullback. This one trying to get through its 10 as well. It's a 0.6. This is IoT, Samsara. So up more than 5%. And trying to get through these moving averages. So and a lot of these look very similar action here in these recent stocks at Gap Tire. This is GitLab, once again showing the ability to really ramp higher, really move. Now it's pulled back, undercut its 21 and tried to ramp above it today. It closed very close to its just a tick above its 21 and 0.8% below the 10. So that has more work to do, but these things are definitely some to watch. Giga Cloud, this is one that we had on our ready list. This thing's just blasting higher, totally extended now, but you know, showing the ability to move as well as path, UI path. This one is weaker than the other ones that I showed you because it's well below 2.7% below the 10, 2.4% below the 21. So that has more work to do as well. ServiceNow, one of the big ones. This one had a nice day today, up nearly 3% and rallied through its moving averages. And that's what you want to see right there. Moving through the trading above the moving averages there, 1% above the 10. That's what you want. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the cybersecurity names because these ones were ramping as well. This is one that I had sold because it wasn't moving. It just formed this wedge pattern, so I had to buy it back today. Trading's messy sometimes, folks. Anyway, it's a stock that I want, so I had to buy it back. Probably about the same price that I sold it at. But anyway, so immediately up on the purchase though, as this thing was up nearly 6%. So CrowdStrike looks good. The old high was at 261.81. The high today was 261.64. So just a tick below on CrowdStrike. Zscaler, very similar action. This little, you know, bull wedge pattern now trading above its moving averages. A little bit further behind its 52 than CrowdStrike. And Palo Alto Network, similar pattern, but this one now is below. You know, it's like traffic, you know, trying to fight through the moving averages to trade higher. And then nice NICE, nice systems. This one had a big move, but still, if you look at the weekly, you know, still consolidating in a stage one base. So that is a stock of interest, up 6% today on above average volume. So yeah, looks good. Yeah, nice systems. Anyway, the stock of the day has to be CROX, right? CROX was they raised guidance and it was really strange because they didn't raise it that much, but I think Armageddon was priced in here. I think they really thought that Hey Dude is struggling. Their football themed shoe in the fall was really a bomb. And the Crocs, clogs of the Crocs are selling well. Hey Dude is not, but they raised guidance better than expected, traded up to the 200, and that'll be resistance there. So we see if it can get through that 105 area. Anyway, nice day for Crocs, and it rallied the entire sector. On holdings, there was some rumor that Tiger Woods left Nike today, and there was a rumor that on holding was going to sign him, but I seriously doubt that. They're not a. First of all, Roger Federer is a tennis player. who kind of is a investor in this company, and Tiger's a golfer, and they don't have golf stuff. It didn't sound right to me, but this is why I say you gotta watch the rumors on Wall Street. People say anything for a buck, right? Deckers, another one that benefited from the CROX news. All this thing did was pull back to its 50 and then bounce today nearly 5%. So good for the longs there at Deckers. This thing, it's going to move on earnings like you see in the past. It consolidated in this base and ramped higher. I believe is about 20% on earnings, and they're going to report here pretty soon once again. So buckle up for Deckers. I think their Hoka and their UGG brands are just selling really well. Skechers is another retail name that benefited from the Crocs news, and it was up 4% with volume. So good day for the retail shoe stock, and also Abercrombie and Fitch. They raised guidance there at the conference in Orlando, Florida, the retail conference. We have 3 conferences going on: the retail conference in Florida, the JP Morgan in San Francisco, and CES in Las Vegas. So there's going to be plenty of news this week. And I prefer trading off of raised guidance off of sales and earnings growth and off some Fed head talking out the side of his neck. That moves the market, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, but earnings and sales growth, that's what's going to move stocks longer term. And that's what Abercrombie and Fitch has been delivering for a while now. And you could see this breakout from this stage 1 base, and it has just been ramping ever since May of 2023. So congrats to the longs at Abercrombie and Fitch. That was the leading S&P 500 gainer in 2023, starting off in 2024 with raised guidance. So good for Abercrombie and Fitch. That's it for me, except for I lied. I have one more thing, and that is some people were asking me about how to manage trades. And to me, like, there's a lot of books on psychology of trading, and there's only 3 things that can happen when you buy a stock. It either goes up, it goes down, or it goes sideways. So you have to know yourself. I have rules. If it, let's say I bought Okta here and it goes down right away, it looks good here, right? It's got this double bottom pattern. It's tightening up here, and then I buy it, and boom, it goes down nearly 4%. And it slices its 10. I might sell it there, but certainly the next day, if it's down another 3%, I sell down 4.5%, 5%, no questions asked, because I can afford a lot of losses at 4 and 5% if I just have a couple of 50% winners. So to me, okay, I bought it and went down, I sell it. What's the big deal? You have to know yourself. Maybe you want to hold something going sideways. Or then when your stock goes up, you have a decision. So the losses are easy. You sell at a small loss, that's easy. TGTX, this is one that we bought. How do you manage this? We bought it at 1140 here. I want to say it was on our ready list back in, I want to say December, maybe November. Yeah, November. Right there when it traded up above $12. So 1140 was the buy point, and it did nothing wrong here. There's no sell signs in TGTX. This is a real easy hold. So there's no really decisions to make here. You just hold it as it finds support at the 10 EMA. Now here it pulled back and formed this little shelf. And so, I don't know if you get squirrely. I mean, you have a big gain. So now you have decision to make. Your stock ran from 1140 to 1888. You could take profits. Let's just say you bought 1,000 shares at $11.40. So it cost you $11,400, and it runs up to 1888. So at that point, you can take off half. You can take off your principal, your 11,000, and let the other 7,400 run. You have a lot of options. You could even add if you want, if you think this thing's going higher. We just noted that there was a gap to fill here at 1956. So that was kind of our target, 1956. And so you should definitely take some off at that point because that's your goal. But you want some to run because this thing could trade above. It's got another gap here at 25.21, and it's got a high here of 35, and you don't want to miss out on that move. So I think your tougher decisions are when a stock runs higher. When it goes lower, you just sell, no problem. It goes sideways, it's up to you how patient you are in waiting. But if it goes higher, now you have some decisions to make on how to manage this move, how to manage your stock, and that's personal, up to you. And some people are greedy. Hey, it comes up here, I want to add. I think this thing's going to be a, $50, $60 stock. It was before, not that long ago. It was at 35, and in 2020 it was 56. So maybe it's going to make new highs. They've got the sales growth going on here. So it's just up to you personally how you want to manage that. To me, there's three ways. You can just take the money and run, goodbye. You could sell half or sell partials and let the rest run. Sell your principal, your 11,400 or whatever, and let the rest run. Or you can add. You can be greedy and just say, hey, I'm going to go all in. This is a 5% position that grew into a 10% position. I'm going to add another couple percent higher and go for the gusto. It just depends on who you are, and as a trader and as an investor, and what you know about this company. I do believe this thing has some catalyst coming. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thank you for allowing me to bore you for the past 20 minutes or so. The drug stocks I think they're going to continue to have this news flow this week from the JP Morgan conference. The Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas is just kicking off. We're probably going to get some good news from there. And the retail conference, there's going to be news flow from there. So I like this raised guidance, and I like the M&A and the drug sector. And at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Thank you for watching.